we are back. So, one of the other three chambers of our government spoke this week on a bunch of different issues, and one of which is close to home, the corruption trial against former Governor Bob McDonnell of Virginia for his dealings with a businessman who was convinced tobacco products could cure everything from the common cold to MS. That said, the Supreme Court has decided unanimously, saying, baby, you can drive my car, especially if it's a Ferrari.
They did say it was a travesty. I mean, they said... I could see that they were very mixed emotions. This wasn't a pure 8-0. That
it was vacated. He was not...
Yeah, I mean, no. This wasn't, hey, he was a great governor. This was, under the rules, we don't think he did anything wrong. Do we think he's slime? Yes. I think that's exactly...
Justice Roberts wrote the majority of his opinion.
They basically said he was kind of a sleazy guy, but he did nothing illegal.
Right.
Bottom line.
No, that's overstating it. It wasn't that he didn't do anything illegal. He said for the interpretation of this law, specifically related to the phrase official acts,
yes,
that simply making phone calls to other members of his administration and other government agencies did not constitute official act under the law.
Yeah.
Right, but do we think any other governor is going to let somebody else pay for his daughter's wedding? Do we think any other governor is going to let his wife get a Rolex from some other guy and then give it to him? I don't think so. I think this was a wake-up call. It definitely was a wake-up call in Richmond.
It's a wake-up call, and it'll probably last 5 or 6 years.
True.
And then we'll see
and
another.
We'll
Human nature being what it is, there are too many people who think they can skate on very thin ice.
Alan Moore.
Yeah, as we said back at the time, this stuff was just unbelievably stupid on the part of a governor who was a pretty good governor, a pretty smart guy. Where would the judgment gap come that would make him think, notwithstanding very loose, yes, thank you, very loose ethics laws and rules in Virginia, none of which he necessarily or obviously broke. We'll see if the feds want to come back. The main and try this again. I mean, they send it back to an appellate court, and the feds who prosecuted this, basically arguably a state case, decided in what looks to some of us like big time overreach. That they would prosecute it, but the biggest complaint that the court made was about the judge's instructions to the jury and how an official act was defined, and the definition was so loose that it wasn't a surprise that they found him guilty on 28 counts. So virtually everything he ever did on behalf of this benefactor was considered to be an official act. Call up somebody and say, can you meet with this guy? And the meeting occurs. But he didn't strong-arm anybody to do the things that this guy was hoping to have happen. So there's many lessons here. One, this guy's life is a mess. His political, his personal, and his financial life is a mess, and it's hard to be sympathetic to somebody who acted so stupidly on the one hand. On the other hand, the Justice Department and the federal prosecutors did themselves no favors by deciding that, notwithstanding state law for behavior of a governor inside the state, we're going to come bringing all the full resources of the federal government down. And they're embarrassed by that. Talk about money and, money well spent or poorly spent. My God, they would have spent millions and millions of dollars, as would poor McDonnell, who didn't have it. So he's got massive debts now to law firms, and there's an outside chance that there'll be another prosecution. I'm guessing not, but we don't know. That'll be up to others to decide.
Well, it's worth noting that one of the lines of Justice Roberts' opinion was that essentially what the Justice Department was saying was criminalizing all of politics. And so, Carl Tuvin, to you, what would you say the line is of the things that are natural things in politics that grease the wheels, and when does it become corruption?
Very thin line. You know, I mean, you go in to see a congressman, and you want to get some wording in a bill legislatively, and you ask him, could you please call the chairman and help me get an appointment with him, and by the way, tell him A, B, C, and D. Maybe I had contributed to a great deal in his campaign, or maybe I contributed nothing. But again, it's a very thin line when that happens. But it's done all the time.
Alan Moore.
It is it's a messy and often ugly system that we have. Having said that, people who are inside the system tend to be well aware of what the rules are, what kinds of gifts you can accept, and what you can say about acts that somebody wants of you. I mean, in effect, what's usually going on is you have donors. People are regular donors. They come to fundraisers, and what they're purchasing, in effect, is not outcomes but access. Now, I'm not defending the fact that that's how it works. That if you got 50 people who want to talk to you and if you're an elected member of Congress, let's say a senator or a member of the House, you got 50 people who want to talk to you, and you only have time for 5. Which 5 do you talk to? You talk to the 5 who you know, who are your supporters. That's no guarantee that you're going to do what they want. But man, being heard is step one, and then oftentimes, for long time supporters, friends, fundraisers, people who've shared things for you and are always there for you, oftentimes the question will be from the member to staff: can we do anything for this guy? Can we do something? Can we give him a study? Can we give him some little piece of what he wants? Not give him something, but can we give him something? I mean, I used to see that in and around the finance committee at different times. Is there anything we can do? I'm relying on the staff to tell me, yeah, consistent with the law and your history and everything you care about, maybe we could do this little thing or that little thing. And they say, fine, let's do it. There's a desire to help, but it's subtle and it's complicated, and we as a society really like to simplify everything, and we say, well, money fouls everything, and it certainly doesn't make it clean. But what members learn to do with donors is take their dough, then tell them no. But at least they get the FaceTime.
Congressman Al is smiling someplace. I was about to say, that's the line that he would say. If you can't take their money, drink their booze, and tell them to go to hell, then you don't know how to do politics. But Admiral Kemp.
That's it.
So shortly after I got promoted to Rear Admiral, someone gave me an article by Dean Ludwig called The Bathsheba Syndrome. And it talks about the fact that if you let your hubris get in the way of your job, you're not going to be in that job very long. And I'm glad they did, because magically, almost within days of putting on that star, I became the wittiest, handsomest, most erudite person you'd ever want to meet.